Right. Real quick now, I want to make sure that I get a very valid, good recording to you, as I have to dissertate what is really going on right now, what is at hand. This is the City of New Orleans Mayor's Office of Workforce Development. And I am right here, I'm present right here, right now, genuinely pleading of you. I'm asking of you to please help me right now, as I am shot at again a few nights ago at Nick's Library on Thursday of last week. From that point on, even before that point, I had to make a contact about not being able to stay in the shelter there at the Salvation Army because the head man, who I did have on the emails and the dissertations, OSC, I'm going to have to send you the dissertation that involves the federal hostage kidnapping and the false imprisonments. I have not sent that yet, and that man's name was the one name that was omitted. As I mentioned, I had questions as to who he was, who he would be. I had already had a heads up about McCoy having a presence there. I had been told that McCoy's son stayed there before. And there is a record of where McCoy is mentioned by either the son or somebody for being someone who has something to deal with, him doing things that dealt with, molestate, things to deal with him touching children, touching people as they were children, as a child. So I've heard of things, and so I was told McCoy's presence there with the people that are over it, with the man over there. I was told, previously, like, you don't really want to go there, you don't really want to stay there, So I had not tried to up until recently on the night that we had a tornado watch. And so that night I attempted to go into there, and I wasn't allowed to once you come after 6 p.m. So I rode it. I stayed outside of the building that night and, waited for the next day. And as I mentioned, he's the one name that I had omitted from the false imprisonment, federal hostage, and federal kidnapping dissertation there with the Washington Post article there at the top about Mr. John Thompson, the man who had been falsely imprisoned for many years there. The reason why I left him out, like I say, my suspicions began to arise concerning him, and as it became, I didn't realize it was going to become, as it became very imperative that I needed to be able to stay there. Right now, I'm somebody who's not able to stay in the Salvation Army. You see what I'm saying? The man basically told me flat out, he said, I don't really believe you are who you are. I keep facing this thing. The thing of it is what we're dealing with is the apartheid. You see what I'm saying? Where people, they have knowledge of who you are in terms of, there's a great deal of the hearsay. People have circulated it in many places, in many areas about you being the baby born independent, the baby born Shanice Maria Parker. We know of being born queen to the house of Sir Lyndon Penland, Margaret Mackenzie Penland being the adopted family that ends up adopting you, and that comes along, in the next 2 months. But there's an arrangement made before you're even, even really here, before you're even born. So it's things of that nature that I've learned about. So there is a widespread that is heard greatly in places that have footages on ultrasound. I am going to go ahead and make contact with things in areas like Fitbit with Sony, where that way we can start to have surveillance, especially like real-time crime centers that are everywhere in the country in various locations. And moreover, everyone, they can start to implement the imaging, being able to be basically diagnosed with Fitbit. You would be able to determine anything that each individual would be able to do. You're not having chips or anything implanted or installed in a person or in people. You have the ability that It's basically like you can read register the graphic of a person, not just graphic. Let me say it the right way. It's basically like they can use the body chemicals, chemistry of a person. You can with Fitbit, you're able to not only pick up like body mass index of various people, but you can register, like I say, fingerprints and toe prints and things of that nature of a person. Things like how you have the Dr. Scholl's, the gels in your shoes. They would also be as an ability to be able to, Fitbit can just simply basically like ultrasounds everything and everybody, and it will be able to detect based upon just the soles you got in your shoes. They work much like the gellulose that's on the Fitbit wristband. So it would pretty much like register, just basically by it being the cellulose composition. It will molecularly be able to pick that up, pick up who you are and what you're doing. But I'm saying all this right now because where I'm at right now, and like I say, we'll get imaging that way. It will take care of like I say, ultrasound, Doppler radar, any kind of imaging necessary, and much like a CAT scan that will register neurology. The Fitbit will be able to. Fitbit is able to, like I say, it's able to communicate. Whatever it is that is going on with a person, whatever it is that a person is in the process, in the midst of doing, and so it deals a great deal with like the kineticism. You see what I'm saying? Kineticism of a person, which deals with the body movement, things of that nature. But we're gonna get into that further. Right now, the most imperative thing, the most pertinent thing is for me to do is to ask right now, for the sake of my safety and the sake of safety of, like I say, I have a nephew that's here in New Orleans as well, a mature, an adult nephew who, as well, he needs to get out and be able to be in a place of safety. The two of us would be able to go immediately into like truck driving as like team drivers, or however we would need to go about and go into truck driving. I am in the utmost urgency at all times to get all of my children, all of my young adults, my young men and women out from amongst all of this paranormal activity and things that are dealing with these cult activities, this whole entire like coven, whole entire like onslaught, and these seances. As I mentioned, you walk into the Trump McCoy, the Trump, Lord have mercy. You walk into the atmosphere of what it is that Daryl McCoy, his false ministry. You walk into that atmosphere, you're not aware that you're walking into the midst of what is a coven, and you're not aware that they are trying to basically like have attachments of presences on you. And so as you're leaving, because you've been there fighting stuff off, and so thank you Jesus, your truth, your reality is that you really are trying to fight things off of you, but you don't realize it's the person like next to you that's throwing things, that's aiming things, that's trying to practice paranormal activity on you. So you're not aware of these things, initially when you come into this false ministry, but eventually you become aware of these things. So what I'm saying is, now with the course of time, you're learning what has happened over many years now. You got to understand where I am at right now, today being the 30th of April 2019. I have been out of McCoy's false ministry since 2011 or so, and see, even before then, I left in 2010. I moved away to Mobile, Alabama. Behind, at the time, I went to get ready to go back to school, Bishop State Community College, to take up culinary. I wanted to get my my ACF certification, and wanted to get my certification as a personal chef, and also wanted to look into things that dealt. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it was, oh, wow. Excuse me, you all. I thought that it was ending the recording, which I was going to be real sad. I was going to have to start it over again.